All right, we will call the order the BZA meeting for June 25th. If you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Give a quick explanation of the procedures this evening. We will have the cases presented by the staff. At that point is a public portion, and the applicant will have the opportunity to speak, and anyone that's for or against this appeal or this matter will have the opportunity to speak for or against this matter. And then we will close the public portion, and then at that point, anyone that spoke, we could direct some questions back to whether it's the applicant or anyone that had some questions about the matter. At that point, we will make a decision. Our board will vote. And at that point, it'll be either for or against the appeal. After that, we have unfinished business. I have nothing in my agenda. We have our meeting minutes we'll have to approve, and just administrative matters we'll have to go through. You don't have to stick through. Once your case is presented and it's done, you can leave. You don't have to stick through the whole evening tonight. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bartolt.
Here.
Ms. Owens. Mr. Shupp.
Here.
Mr. Sydow.
Here.
Mr. Roberto.
Present. So I notice Ms. Owens is absent. We'll ask that Charles Thiemann can come forward. Do we have a placard over here for him?
Yeah, he's down below though. He's
Down below?
though. Yeah. That was my misdoing. You got it?
Can you come help him? Yes, please. While we're doing that, we can do some swearing in. If you plan to speak this evening, I ask that you please rise and raise your right hand. Plan on speaking? Do you swear or affirm that you'll tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth before the Board of Zoning Appeals? Say, I do. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you. So our first case this evening would be for BZA 25-8, a variance requested at 6066 Blue Rock Road. I believe there was a request for a continuance. Is that the fact?
Yes, Mr. Roberto. The applicant provided the zoning administrator with a request that the case be continued to the next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals to allow for additional time for preparation and submission of supported materials. I recommend a continuance on this hearing, and I did tell the applicant that this is the second continuance now, and any further continuances would require documentation.
Thank you. And so, does anyone have a motion to continue this to the next month's meeting?
I'll make a motion to continue to next month's meeting.
Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second's been made. Any discussion? Can't kill my. I actually have the ringer off.
You broke your own rule.
Lights on.
Yeah, it's all these silly scam calls. So any discussion? I see none. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bartolt.
Yes.
Mr. Shupp.
Yes.
Mr. Sydow.
Yes.
Mr. Thiemann.
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes. Motion has been made to continue. We'll do so. The next case would be BZA 25-10. It's a variance requested for 2744 Adams Road. Does the staff have a presentation?
Mr. Roberto, I have a memo as well. The applicant provided the zoning administrator with a request that this case be continued to the next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals to allow additional time for preparation and submission of supported materials. Staff recommends a continuance of this public hearing for the requested variance. This is this applicant's first continuance.
Okay, from the staff, there's been a recommendation to continue. Do we have a motion from the board?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve a continuance to the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Second. First and second, any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bartolt,
Yes.
Mr. Shup,
Yes.
Mr. Sydow,
Yes.
Mr. Thiemann,
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes. That brings us to our third case. We're breezing through tonight. The BZA 25-12 will be a variance request for 11686 Pippin Road. Does the staff have a presentation?
I do.
Perfect.
So this is case BZA-25-12 for 11686 Pippin Road. This is a variance request. The parcel number and zoning district are listed on the screen and in the packet. The applicant and property owner is Lori Wheeler. The subject property is 0.59 acres. It's a corner lot developed with a single-family home. It's located at the intersection of Pippin Road and Cranbrook, and that's in our SUR zoning district, single-unit residential. Corner lots are defined as having 2 front yards under the zoning resolution. Applicant proposes a 6-foot solid privacy fence along Cranbrook Drive frontage, and this is in fact in her front yard. Table 4.4.2A prohibits solid fences over 4 feet in front yards without a variance. The justification for the fence is that it's intended to protect privacy, limit pedestrian access, and can contain a service dog. The applicant states the design will preserve visibility but not obstruct traffic or driveways. So if you turn your attention to the screen, you can see this overview. The area the applicant lives in is kind of the edge of a more dense area. To the north, we have a park and we have a school. The applicant argues that traffic from the school will oftentimes cut through her lot, creating a danger, a potential dog bite, a potential lawsuit if somebody is injured on her property. And that is the justification for the request of the fence. This is a little bit more zoomed in, but you can still see the proximity. The applicant lives to the school. And this is collected from Google Street View. So this bridge you can see here, it's on the front yard adjacent to where she wants the fence. This is the next neighbor, and this is Cranbrook, the frontage she'd like the fence on. Initially, the fence was suggested to be right along Cranbrook, but we will discuss that momentarily. This is another view. So this is the same neighboring house that you saw. This is looking up. So you can see right now it's very open. A privacy fence would definitely change that. The question is, how intense would that be? So I show you this picture first because this is Miss Wheeler's house, and over here we have her neighboring house. The interesting part is that her neighbor is on a pie-shaped lot. Normally, if somebody requested a privacy fence in their front yard, we tend to recommend denial on those because they do create visibility issues, which can be dangerous to people walking down the sidewalk. Children, elderly, and it can also be dangerous to traffic. But in this instance, Miss Wheeler lives on lives next to a pie-shaped lot. So if this neighbor built a privacy fence, he or she would be able to theoretically build it to the line that I'm dragging on right now. So that would cause something very interesting. So for that reason, and I'll show you what that would cause in a moment. For that reason, I'm recommending that we allow Miss Wheeler to have a variance to build a fence halfway up. You can see where that white line is appearing, rather than all the way up to Cranbrook, which would be a very intense visibility issue. I'm recommending that you allow her to build it halfway up the yard. And the reason for that is if this neighbor does build the privacy fence that I mentioned a moment ago, and Miss Wheeler built her privacy fence where it's supposed to be, which is showing up on the screen right now in the black outline, we would end up with a very weird horn of privacy fence that wouldn't look right, wouldn't be functional. It would actually look much better and I think be less intense to allow her to build it on that white line. So the zoning issue, as we stated, is the fence in the front yard, and staff findings are listed in the packet and on the screen. I'll read the most relevant in this case. It's staff's opinion the property in question would yield a reasonable return without the variance. Obviously, we don't need the fence. Number 3 is that it's staff's opinion the essential character of the neighborhood would not be substantially altered as a result of granting the variance. In fact, it might be altered in a negative way if the stars align with us not granting the variance. And number 7, it's staff's opinion that the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice would be done by granting the requested variance. And for that reason, staff recommends conditional approval with a condition that the 6-foot privacy fence shall not extend further into the Cranbrook Drive front yard than the line drawn between the midpoint of the primary structure, side wall facing Cranbrook, and the front property line. This is indicated by the green line upon the site plan attached to this case. Mr. Roberto?
I have one question for staff in this case.
Yes.
So are you going to give them a dimension to work off of other than this green line? Do you have some sort of measurement that we can define how far away?
We, since Cages is an estimation, then I think the language that halfway between the furthest extent of the house to Cranbrook and the property line on Cranbrook is enough for when we review a permit application request for us to get a more accurate measurement and divide by 2. So I think that's sufficient
I
language.
just want to make sure that this is enforceable, whatever we say.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to be able to, somebody can go out with a tape measure or figure something out that they can say, I got it right spot.
Correct, yeah, the language about being halfway between, and we specifically mention the property line and the furthest extent into the yard, is going to be enforceable for sure.
Okay, perfect, thank you. All right, is the applicant present? You want to come and give your presentation, please?
So, hi, my name is Laura Wheeler.
If you can state your name and the address for the record,
Oh,
please.
okay.
Thank you.
11686 Pippin Road, and I am requesting a extension to rule so that I can at least have somewhat of an ability to enjoy the property, along with sticking with my corner pie lot to help improve the township, that, you know, as a whole, if I stick with that, it will improve the visibility, like the aesthetic purposes, and also to protect my privacy and that of my service animal, and to keep the children from cutting through the yard. So I don't know if there's, you know, if you would like me to read like the whole letter, or.
Well, this is your time, you can do whatever you like.
So, I am respectfully requesting a variance from the township zoning regulations to allow the installation of a privacy fence on my property. While I fully understand that the privacy fences are not generally permitted on corner lots under the current zoning resolution, I believe that the granting this request would be reasonable and in keeping with the spirit of the zoning code. Importantly, the proposed fence will not impair visibility for motorists, pedestrians, and/or neighboring driveways. Layout of my property and the positioning of the existing structures ensures that no line of sight issues will result from that installation. I'd also like to draw attention to the board a unique circumstance, which is the pie shape as mentioned, so I don't need to necessarily repeat
Sure.
that. For this request may not be traditional hardship, it is, however, a unique and difficult, due to me having the same level of privacy as the rest of the inner lots. So with that being said, I'm hoping that you guys can make an exception.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone speaking in favor of this appeal? Would you like to come up? Have you signed in for the record?
No, I forgot.
Okay, can I have you sign in, please?
Ms. Wheeler, you can have a seat and we'll call you back up.
Did I swear you in too? Okay, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm you tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth before the Board of Zoning Appeals? I do.
Yes, I did.
Thank you. And Mrs. Pippin Road?
Yes.
And if you want to, just to make it easier for me, if you just to give your name and address, write that in there for me, please.
So we don't need these.
Thank you. Been here twice.
This will be next. Thanks.
Actually, that was wrong. That's all right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go, you want to speak in favor, ma'am?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I'm completely in favor. I don't see the issue with putting the fence where she wants to put it. And I understand the concerns with the children cutting through the yard, because we live right next door, and until we put our fence up, they were great about cutting through their yard, and then they would straight through our yard, and then they would go back to the corner. I'm like, wow, that's a different kind of route. So, I mean, I definitely understand wanting to block it off. And the fact that she has a service animal, I mean, I definitely think that it's in his best interest too. That's all.
Thank you. Anyone else speaking for or against this appeal? See none, we have a motion to close the public portion?
I'll make a motion to close the public portion.
Motion-
Second it.
Motion and a second has been made. Discussion? I see none. Roll call vote.
Mr. Bartolt,
Yes.
Mr. Shup,
Yes.
Mr. Sydow,
Yes.
Mr. Thiemann,
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes. Ms. Saito, do you have any questions for the applicant or anyone that spoke?
Yes, the,
To whom do you want to speak?
You can
The
come up.
applicant?
the applicant is the dimension that you're wanting to put the property line, put the property on the 53 feet down to Cranberry Road from the house?
So, no, it's actually less that it's, from my understanding with the way the property is, that 53 number is, I don't know why it's actually 53. So it's like, it's 53 away from the road.
Oh, okay.
So I'm actually losing a lot more yard. If I was requesting it due to wanting more yard, I would actually have requested more, but it's not really more yard. I'm just doing it to where I have some kind of privacy, and that is what makes me join up to his line. So,
Okay. And what is the dimension to the white line that you have on there? Do you know?
The white line is the midpoint. If that's 53 feet, it would be 26 and a half.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, according to the fencing company that I've been trying to work with as well, is that, he's got it at 25, so we got it just under to where if it, we wanna make sure that we don't allow, a problem for that back when they get a fence either, so we, if, when he decides to, if they're new owners as well, that we could join up at the correct spot.
And how tall of the fence would you,
It would be the 6-foot privacy.
no further questions?
Okay, Mr. Shup?
I have none.
Mr. Thiemann?
No, thank you.
Mr. Bertle?
No, thanks.
And you're getting a permit for this, and,
I've already requested for the permit.
awesome. I have any questions. Does anyone like to make a motion and based upon the staff's recommendation? All right, this is, okay.
There's one condition.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Anyone like to make a motion, please?
So I'll make a motion to approve the variance under the condition that the fence line parallel to Cranbrook be the midpoint between the farthest most point of the house and the property line.
It's pretty specific.
Did a good job.
Would anyone like to second that?
I'll second.
Second's been made. Any discussion? See none, roll call vote.
Mr. Bartol,
Yes.
Mr. Shup,
Yes.
Mr. Sydow,
Yes.
Mr. Thiemann,
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes. So you've been granted.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Wish you well. Looking forward to nice things. All right. Should I drag it out a little longer? We're at Hubble, so I know that the audience was really anticipating being first in this agenda. They were told, misspoke, so. Next case, I'm gonna get my paper. BZA 25-14, it'll be the variance requested for 4704 Hubble Road. Does the staff have a presentation?
I do. Our next case is BZA-25-14. This is for 4704 Hubble Road. This is a variance. The parcel number is listed on your screen and in the packet. This is in the SUR Single Unit Residential Zoning District. The applicant is David Andress and his wife Ellen. The case detailed, the subject property is a large rural residential lot developed with a single-family home. Applicants propose a 2-story outdoor fireplace structure adjacent to the rear deck. Section 4.2.3 limits the accessory structure height to 15 feet, 16.5 feet if we grant a 10% administrative variance. The proposed fireplace, however, is around 19 feet, and that would exceed the height restriction, and that causes the need for a variance. The lot topography places the home in a valley below neighboring hillside homes, and the nearest residences are over 300 feet to the north and south, and over 1,000 feet to the east and west. The applicant asserts that due to distance and elevation, the structure will not affect the neighbors. The application follows administrative denial due to the height limit being exceeded. So as you can see from the polygons upon this map, it's kind of a sparsely populated area. That Twin Willow Street adjacent has some houses, but generally speaking, this is not as dense as most of the SUR zoning district. And you can see this on this aerial imagery. that the whole lot and his neighbors, they're very far apart from each other. This is a close-up of the house, and Mr. Andres provided as well a sketch that shows the distance from all the property lines that could potentially see the deck, the fireplace. The distance from the house is actually 14.1 feet. And this is kind of a sketch up, taking the fireplace and just kind of pasting it over their house with a new spiral staircase mock-up. And this kind of shows what it'll look like. It shows also the view you might see from the neighbors in each direction. As you can see, very wooded in some directions. This is not likely to raise the intensity of the neighbor's view, especially in such a sparsely populated area. The zoning issue, as I described, can't be more than 15 feet tall. Well, staff finds, based on the Duncan factors, which are in the packet and on the screen, I will read the three that I think are most relevant in this case. It's staff's opinion the property in question would yield a reasonable return without the variance, although it's going to be a very nice fireplace. It's staff's opinion the essential character of the neighborhood would not be substantially altered as a result of granting the variance. In fact, I believe it would be an enhancement to the neighborhood. And number 7, it's staff's opinion the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice would be done by granting the variance. So for that reason, staff recommendation is approval. Mr. Roberto?
Thank you. Is the applicant present? You want to come and give your name and address to the record and give us your case? Yes. Thank you.
David Andrews, 4704 Hubble. Sorry about that. And you want me to describe what I'm trying to do, is it?
Just what is the case of why we should grant this variance for you? So that your justification is why we need it. What's the hardship?
So my wife and I retired. We decided to do something with our backyard, and we spend a lot of time outdoors on our deck currently. We have a little fire pit up there, and we thought it would be very nice to have one built in on our deck, as well as now take advantage of our patio, which we've never done before, because we're going to build a whole new deck, waterproof it. So now the patio is waterproof, so we thought, let's put a fireplace down there too. I went to an engineer to find out what it would take to build a masonry fireplace, and he encouraged me not to do that, but instead to go with prefab. I don't know if you're familiar with prefab. It's lava rock, whatever. It's what they do 90% of the time now in homes, I understand. I looked into what prefab would take to build, and after I did all the math, because the engineer said, you don't need me for prefab, they're pretty simple, you can get anybody who can build a deck to build one for that matter. So I did all the engineering myself, looked into all the dimensional issues that I would have with having 2 flues, et cetera, and realized that it was going to be right at about 19 feet. That's when I called Colerain Township to find out, am I allowed to even do that? Because I want to certainly get all the permitting. I was told that it was a 15-foot max with a variance of plus or minus 10%, or plus 10%, I'm going to say, which is outside of the norm. I thought I was pretty much done at that point, but found out that there was an opportunity for me to appeal to you guys to see if that was something we can indeed do. I realized at that point that the reason for that that height limit was due to a 1970s or so ruling that restricted people from building large buildings on their property that maybe would obstruct somebody else's view, et cetera. I didn't think that was going to be the case with mine, so I put together a packet of information that you've seen that shows that I live in a valley. All my neighbors are pretty much above me. There is opportunity for them to see the fireplace, of course, and even during the winter, if you're looking across 300 or 400 feet, it might even be at eye level. My house, however, is 32 feet at the peak, so it's already blocking their view. It's not necessarily going to block it any further. They may not like the fireplace, but it certainly isn't going to inhibit them seeing the beautiful valley or anything of that nature. So I thought, okay. At that point, I went and talked to my neighbors and asked them, hey, would you have any problem with this? If you do, I certainly don't want to do something that would cause you strife. And they all said, no, that would look beautiful. When's the party? Certainly that's what they said to my face. Maybe they would say something differently behind my back, but at least face to face, they all thought it was a good idea. So I went out and started to ask a landscape architect to design the whole space. And it's going to generate a lot of revenue for a lot of contractors. It's not cheap. That's my nice way of saying it's not cheap. I feel like it is going to enhance the area. Certainly is going to enhance my property value and my wife's and I lifestyle. So I ask you to please consider all those things when you're making your ruling on whether or not I can extend my fireplace up to that 19 feet. And I do have a question about that, as if I do go to 19 feet, is there any variance that I would be given on top of that, or is that that's a strict limit? Okay. The only reason I ask that is I was working with the prefab fireplace company. They said the 19 feet should be fine. By the way, I need 19 feet because my deck is at 11 feet. And there's the firebox has a certain distance, and you need a flue height of a certain distance, and the minimum that they recommended was about 8 feet over the top of my deck, which gives me that 19 feet. So they did suggest that there could be a problem in some cases with airflow and the fireplace maybe creating a little more smoke than I like, because the flue height was only going to be a few feet. But they went back and talked to their engineers, and they don't feel that's going to be an issue. So that's why I was asking. They said if it became an issue, you could add another couple feet of pipe, tubing. It's a stainless tube. But if I can't do that, that's fine. I'll just deal with the extra smoke on a few days if it happens to work out that way. So again, I ask for your consideration on allowing us to do that. We'd like to move forward as soon as possible to enjoy it this fall, if at all possible. So,
Thank you, sir.
you're welcome.
Anyone else speaking for this applicant? Anyone speaking against? I see none. Can I have a motion to close the public portion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? I see none. Roll call vote.
Mr. Bartolt,
Yes.
Mr. Shup,
Yes.
Mr. Sydow,
Yes.
Mr. Thiemann,
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes. Mr. Saito, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Yes, sir, could you, the one photograph of the fireplace, looks like in the lower half you have the picture I'm looking at. It's open to the outside of the yard, towards the yard, is that not correct, or?
You're referring to a previous picture that shows I put a couple fireplaces on there that were like inspiration pics I had. One of them, actually, I don't know if it's in this presentation. One of them showed the fireplace being a pass-through. I was encouraged not to do that.
Oh,
I wouldn't be happy with it. So there's only going to be a fireplace on the inside of the patio, as well as at the deck level, facing the deck. It's not going to be a pass-through fireplace.
okay, that's the only question I had, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Shup?
That was my question, so.
Okay. Mr. Thiemann?
I just have one, I'm just curious, this is probably not even relevant to your request, but good-looking fireplace.
Thank you. I hope it
But,
will be.
I'm just curious, like, as far as, like, the, it's a wood-burning fireplace, correct?
That's correct.
And who advises you on, like, fire hazards, that type of thing? How does that,
The manufacturer of the prefab fireboxes,
okay.
I've been talking with their engineering support, and they've given me all kinds of advice on this. I
And they
also
tell you
have-
how far from the house and
Yes.
far from the...
Yes, I also have a contractor who's built numerous fireplaces of this height, and he's the one who's doing it. I'm not building it myself. I have a contractor building it.
Okay, very good. I was just curious. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Bartle?
So do you know how far away it is from the house?
The firebox itself is about 14 feet,
Okay.
some odd inches.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more than the 10-foot.
The 10-foot rule of
Yeah, I looked up.
adjacent roofs?
Yep.
Yeah,
If it was that, I probably wouldn't do it. Just
okay.
too much hassle to make that thing. I mean,
Oh, right, yeah. No, that's all, thanks.
And just for clarification, if this was actually attached to the structure of the house, it wouldn't even require a variance.
That's correct. It's accessory because it's subordinate to the house because it's on the other side of the deck.
Okay, thank you. I have no questions. Do we have anyone who would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to we approve the variance as written.
Okay. And staff, you had no recommendations, right? No
No, I have no
conditions?
conditions.
All right, so do we have a motion to approve it as it stands? Anyone we're gonna do in a second?
I'll second it.
Second's been made, discussion?
Mr. Roberto, I'm sorry. I don't know if this is proper or not, but can we do it for 20 feet in case he has a couple inches that, are gonna cause a real issue? I think that would be prudent.
Well, you gave 10%. What is a 10% on top? It's almost,
16.5.
So that would be 16.5. So if we gave him an extra 3.5 feet over what would be on top of the administrative variance instead of the 19 feet. Because I can't give him one more inch
Yeah,
as an administrative variance on top of what you guys grant.
we would need to change our motion then.
great.
So we're gonna have to finish that, vote it down,
Okay.
and then have to make a motion again.
Okay.
So, you heard what I said, right? So we're gonna do a roll call vote.
Did we have a second yet?
Yeah, we did.
We did, okay.
My turn. Mr. Bartolt,
No.
Mr. Shup,
No.
Mr. Sydow,
No.
Mr. Thiemann,
No.
Mr. Roberto.
No. Would someone else like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve it with the condition that we allow it to go up to 19.5 feet tall
19.5, okay.
with no conditions.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Satisfactory to what you were trying to accomplish?
Sure.
Okay. And you seconded?
Second.
All right, discussion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Bartolt,
Yes.
Mr. Shup,
Yes.
Mr. Sydow,
Yes.
Mr. Thiemann,
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes. You've been granted, and you don't have to stick around.
Be in touch.
Got a little leeway there. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
All right, so then I have unfinished business. I see none. We need approval of the minutes for the May 28th meeting. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes as they were published?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second's been made. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Bartolt,
Yes.
Mr. Shup,
Yes.
Mr. Sydow,
Yes.
Mr. Thiemann,
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes. All right, the minutes have been approved. You hold on to this for me. That moves us to, the next meeting will be July 23rd, 2025. Do we have cases?
We have several cases.
Okay. And now we're into administrative matters. We are talking about abandoned signage. So we have a case, or are we presenting these as cases, or how do we present these?
It's an administrative matter, so we could just say we have a matter, I think.
All right, so we have a matter of ZCE 25-7, be abandoned signage at 2539 West Galbraith Road. Does the staff have a presentation?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, so ZCE zoning code enforcement 25-7, a little context behind it. We have long had abandoned signage rules and illegally placed signage and signage that loses its non-conforming status rules, but our enforcement has not been great on them. So that's what brings some of these cases tonight, that we're finally getting around to enforcing signs that have long been blighted. I placed definitions in the presentation for abandoned signage and for illegally placed signage. The most important thing in the definition is that signage that is considered abandoned when it no longer advertises a bona fide business. And I looked up what bona fide meant, and it meant legitimate or real. The definition's on the screen. For illegally placed signage, when we get to those, that's signage that was erected basically without a permit. It's signage that is not meeting our zoning code, so they really can't get a permit. The zoning resolution is more strict than the process we're doing. We are technically allowed to order them to take it down, but we thought people should have the opportunity to plead their case because signage can be expensive. So our first case in this matter, this photo is taken in February 2025. This is a large, what I would describe as a pole sign, even though there's two poles, for power plant strength and fitness. If you look at Google imagery from September 2007, the sign was exactly the same, except that, as you can see, the poles have not been maintained the way that they should have, so paint is chipping, and it has been for several years. So the property owner is likely going to argue that this is a bona fide business called Power Plant Strength and Fitness. Yet the auditor classifies this property as single family using the code 510, which is their single family code. Also, as a side note, it's the first three numbers of every parcel in Colerain Township. That's a coincidence. But 510 is the property code for single family residential dwellings. The tax summary for this property shows that the land use class is in fact 510. So you can also see from this imagery that if this is supposed to be a bona fide business, there's several cars that are blocking other cars in. There's no clear circulation in the parking lot. There's nowhere to park. There's nothing about this business that would present it as a legitimate bona fide business. In fact, if you look back at 2006, when the sign was likely advertising a bona fide business, you can see that there is clear circulation. There's places for people to park. There's more of a sidewalk, and it is more believable that this was a bona fide business. Okay, so I'm going to explain that. There's a phone number on the sign listed as 522-8222, and I decided to dial that number today.
We're sorry. Your call cannot be completed as dialed or the number has been disconnected.
Yeah, it's not a bona fide business. So the violation process is stated on the screen and also in the packet. Basically, we're asking the Board of Zoning Appeals to consider my determination of this being an abandoned sign, either valid or invalid. I don't recommend tabling this one in this specific case. I feel like there are loopholes attempting to be presented that are not accurate. So I really would like to move this to the Board of Trustees so that we can take action on getting these long blighted signs removed so that we can clean up that corner. Mr. Roberto.
Thank you. Is the applicant, or not applicant, I guess, is the person representing the sign present? Come and give your name and address for the record, please.
Greg Hagel, 2539 West Calvert.
Thank you. You want to speak to the sign, please?
Okay, so the phone number is dead, which I told the other guy out here. So my brother, when he got the letter, flipped the sign around because you guys wanted it gone. So my brother does do personal training. At my house, where this zoning came up, when we bought it, there was a dance studio in the basement, and there was the garage next door was rented out, which now we operate it. I have over $100,000 worth of gym equipment in the basement. My brother trains there every day. He trains people. So we never changed the phone number. Now, the part of not having a permit back then, I don't know about that. We never erected that sign. That sign's been there. My dad bought his place in '81. That sign's been on that property for probably 70 years. All we did was cover the outside. And I do know the paint's coming off because some guy said he could powder coat aluminum, and I told him it wouldn't work. So I did tell my brother that. So all we did to the sign, there's two poles. And I told David Miller, because I'm a perfectionist, and when it comes to a small pole and a big pole, I don't like it. It just looks horrible. So I put those around it to make it square. So, I mean, that sign's been there on that property it's had to be 75 years. Now, I'm reading that the sign has to be abandoned for 2 years. That started last October. I just bought the other building next door, because I know there's something coming up about that one. So, I mean, whatever we got to do. I've been talking to David about this, but that sign's been there for at least 75 years. It has to be, because we've been there since '81. And then somebody complained about one of my letters on the front of my building, so I just took them off. So, but, you know, I told David I'd paint it. We can flip it back around. My brother's got a new number to put on there. He just didn't want to pay for 2 numbers anymore, so he's trying to use his cell phone, but he does other things too. He is a licensed trainer, so it's not like it's, you know, gone. but he thought that you just wanted the sign turned around because the number was dead. He didn't understand the paper, so we've been talking to David about the matter, so that's what I got. So I never built that sign, I never changed anything on that sign. The only thing that was ever done to that sign was letters were put on it. So wherever you're coming up that I erected it and built it and did all this, that sign's been there since we bought in '81, and it was there prior to that. So now how the zoning changed, I have no idea on that house, because I don't see how it's just straight residential. Because I even have a cell tower back there. So, I mean, they allowed that, so, and that's actually on my property back there. So, on that parcel that comes back there. So, I mean, that's all I got. But it's been a business, the sign's always been there. So, you know, and I'm hearing that it's 2 years, am I not correct? It's 2 years being vacant, meaning it has to be closed off, never used for 2 years, and then it becomes a problem. That's the way I'm reading it.
This is your time.
No, I mean, is this correct? I'm asking you that.
This is your time. It's not a Q&A. So just as soon as you're done with your presentation.
Okay, that's what I got.
Do we need to, it's public right now. Do we need to open up for anyone else in the audience?
That'd probably be prudent.
Okay. So is there anyone else in the audience who wants to speak for or against this matter? I see none. Can I have a motion to close the public portion of this matter?
I'll make the motion to close.
I'll second.
Motion and a second has been made. Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote.
Mr. Bartolt.
Yes.
Mr. Shep.
Yes.
Mr. Sydow.
Yes.
Mr. Thiemann.
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes. Mr. Saito, do you have any questions on this matter?
No, sir, I do not.
Mr. Shup?
No.
Mr. Thiemann?
No.
Mr. Bertle?
So for staff,
Yeah.
because this will probably come up a lot in the next couple months if we have more of these, we're going to get applicants who say it's a business, and we're going to get staff findings that say it's not a business. Is it up to us to determine who's right and who's wrong, or how are we going to proceed?
Yeah, that's part of it, since you're making a determination whether my claim that the sign is, or my determination that the sign is abandoned is valid or invalid. So part of that would go into if there is a bona fide business on the site, and that would only really be if words are still up there. There's other sites where it's totally rusted out, there's no face, and it doesn't matter whether there's a business in those. The applicant in this case is, property owner in this case, is claiming that his brother's personal training equipment being stored on the site makes it a business. So is that a bona fide business that requires a ground sign of that size or at all, is the
Well, that's
question.
what I mean. If we take his word for it that it's a business versus some sort of proof that it's a business, whether that's, tax records or list of customers or anything that can prove that it's a legitimate business, without that information, it's just like one person's word against another person's word.
I got a question to that. I got a question to that, so when you're ready,
Well, I mean, that's the crux of my question, just
Yeah.
how do we really determine it?
So then my question to you, Mr. Hagel, is do you have an established EIN number or an LLC that's associated with this sign name?
I mean, my brother, I'm sure does. I mean, he's the one that has the thing.
But he's not here, and you're the property owner, so you're the guy that, so if you need to have your brother here to address that.
Right, and if I could get anybody to do something, then I get it. I should have told him to come up here, because this isn't even really, But anyway,
So we've established that you didn't put the sign up, but there is a sign there.
yeah, that sign's been there, yes.
And the argument is that it's not really representing any business that's currently functioning. Can you prove otherwise?
Well, my brother can, yeah. I mean, he can give me whatever he's got. I mean, he's got LLC and all that kind of stuff, so.
And unfortunately, we're here now. I mean, so
But
we
even
have to
then-
make a decision on,
I mean, you can have an LLC
But it would but the name would reflect what's
Well-
on the sign.
But the building could be vacant. You could still have a
That's
LLC.
not fake.
Sure. Good.
I'm just trying to figure out how we're supposed to decide if there's a legitimate business.
Here's what it comes down to. The sign needs to reflect so that anybody driving by knows that it's a business. And if they call the number, that it's actually gonna be a business that they're gonna call it. So they're gonna answer the phone, whether it's the cell phone or whatever, because it's confusing to the public. And it goes higher than our level. Actually, at the state level, we're addressing in real estate, we have the same scenarios. So what we're hearing is that you flip the sign over, but that doesn't invalidate that it's still a sign that's been what we're considered abandoned because it's not representing a business.
Correct, but the reason he flipped it around is because he thought on the lettering, it just said, you know, because the phone number doesn't work. And he just never got a new phone number because he does his own, you know, it's not like we bring people in there to go train in my basement in the middle of the night. He just trains people himself. You get what I'm saying?
Right,
It's a
but-
one-on-one thing. It's not open to anybody to show up. You gotta get a hold of him. He'll train you for a fee, and that's basically how it works. But that's why I was working with David, but me and him were, you know, I mean, I'm working till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning every night, and it's like I could never touch base with him to try and get this resolved so we can, you know, move on, because now I own the whole corner, so, I mean, I can, you know, that sign goes to my house and my garage, and it's been there. I never erected it like I'm being told I put up. I never put that sign's been there.
And that's really irrelevant. It's a sign that is there.
Right. And
Whether
it's
you
been
did it
there.
or not, it's there, and it's representing a house and not a business. So that's the argument that's being placed, is it's your residence that has maybe equipment in the basement, but it's not open to the general public. It's representing a person, is what you're telling me. You call that number, you get a person who then can work out anywhere, really, as the equipment is, because he's a personal trainer.
Right, but you can own a bar and it can be private and not anybody can come in, right? My friend actually has one in St. Bernard.
In a bar.
They make it private.
But it's still a bar, and it's
It
still
should be a
advertised as a
business.
bar, so that's what,
Right. But I'm just saying.
your house is a house, not a workout facility, is what the argument is.
But-
Right, but to change that from then, because he had to get all the stuff together when he did this gym. So whoever changed that, because my house used to be a bar, and then it used to be a dance studio. Guys rented the garage to detail cars, and then we purchased it. And then my brother put his gym in the basement, so. And we were gonna move, he was gonna move up into the front, but we never bought that building. Now we've bought that building. So like I said, whatever the thing, I guess, states, what I'm being told when I'm reading, it's 2 years. So,
Well, it's been more than 2 years, though. I mean, really, look back we got '09, and what year are we in now? 24, 5? I mean, it's been more than 2 years.
Right.
So even that is not an argument you want to present, because so if he's gonna be moving next door, which I guess this is the next case we're gonna be hearing, is it possible that you can just put your new sign there and terminate the one that's representing your house?
I mean,
What's the value of the sign to you? Why do you want to keep it there when it's your house?
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm here because, you know, I'm reading how the rules and the laws work, that it's 2 years, and it's, I mean, the number, I don't know when he shut the number off, but, you know, I had to find that out, but the way I'm reading this letter is I'm getting directly pinpointed that I built that sign was there when I bought
And
it.
it's about a sign that is on your property that you own.
Right.
That is not representing to the public what it really is. So that's what we're trying to get rid of in the township. You're caught up in this because you're in the early stages of this.
So what I should probably do then is just go downtown, take all them parcels, make it into one, and I'll put Kennedy Motors on every one.
But then you're still limited to only one sign. You can't do that either, because across the street, we made them tear down their sign. So if you can, the convenience store across the street had to tear down the sign on the corner because they had too many signs. So you can only have so many signs on your property.
Well, I didn't see theirs.
So, I mean, if you go in that argument, you're gonna mess yourself up with all these other businesses that are on your same parcel. You don't wanna do that either.
Right. Well, I don't have no other signs.
Well, you got the one, you got your sign for your
There's
building,
not one
right?
on my shop.
So there's where you represent that building then. You can change that sign to show what it is, but it's gotta be updated to
Right, I can
reflect
just change that sign to
Kennedy Motors.
shop,
Yeah.
if that's what I have to do.
This sign, no, because it's not on the parcel that Kennedy Motors is
But if I
on.
get it
It would
changed,
be a
it will
billboard.
be.
So if he changes the parcel to consolidate it, so that piece is captured into it, he potentially could?
I don't know about the hypothetical there, what it would do with non-conforming signs and non-conforming lots, or if the auditor would even allow that. Or I'm sorry, the county would even allow that. But I don't think we should rule on hypotheticals, I think.
Or not.
Okay.
Right now, I'm just,
Let me think.
we're not trying to create a hardship on the guy. So that, we're not gonna be the guys that are, we wanna give him a fair shake to just do the right thing. And talk it through, it's an abandoned sign. There's no ands, ifs, or buts, abandoned sign, because it's not representing anything but your house.
So you don't have the general public coming to work out at the house, right?
No, he only did personal, he never did that. I didn't want people like, these are, he's trained his whole life, so, that's what he does.
But your solution, I was hearing you is you may move it up to the front building that you just purchased.
Well, I'm
And you can move
saying
your sign
that's
there.
what we have to do, but what I'm saying is I'll just go down to the county auditor, because I pay a lot of tax money, and tell him I want to take all these three pieces, and I want to make it into one. That's all I gotta do.
Well, it's more than that. You have to have a survey, and it's gonna cost
Well,
you
I get
quite a
all
bit of
that.
money. So, but
Yeah, it costs money, I got money, that's not the issue here, so, if that's what I have to do, then I can use that sign for my shop, and then next door, there's two other signs that, I guess we're gonna talk about for the next building, which it don't look like that now, because we already took the lettering off, the where it says performance, but, so maybe that's what I need to do, is just go down there and, have it all surveyed as one piece and just make it one parcel.
well, but we're having to make a decision tonight whether this is valid, invalid, or tabling for compliance as to whether or not this is a legitimate sign.
Right.
So I can tell you, even if you were to try to appeal this at a court case, once we make this decision, it's not gonna fare well for you.
Right.
So we're trying to resolve this and make sense out of it so that you're not incurring a bunch of expense to go ahead and have something resurveyed, because it's gonna be thousands of dollars. Is there a better way to go ahead and either you tear that sign down and you use the next sign for the property that we're gonna be talking about in a minute? And then be a legitimate business where your brother moves his workout space there, and it's now power or whatever.
Well, the
Our
thing
plan.
is too, but I don't have any sign on my property because the city came and I had a Bosch sign out front, I had to take it down because they did something with the street, and they didn't even take the bracket off the ground, it's still there. So they didn't even have to make me take that down, something when they did something with the street.
Something to do with the easement.
Right, something they did, yeah, so they took it down.
Can you relocate you reutilize that sign on your property?
I have no idea. I guess I could.
Either way, it needs to not represent your house. And it needs to represent a business that's actually an operating business. That's what it all comes down to.
Mr. Berto? may
Yes.
I? Mr. Hagel, while you probably won't meet the requirements for like a joint identification monument sign that had like 5 windows and you could put different business names in, I think that you have significant hardships where if you applied for that with the Board of Zoning Appeals for a variance, that is a route that I think, I don't want to speak for the board, but in my experience, seems likely to be successful. So if you take the thousands of dollars and extreme headache that you would spend on doing a survey and combining these lots, which is going to cause a lot of problems with the single-family classification, on working on getting a more appropriate monument-based joint identification sign that is more appropriate for the neighborhood business mixed district, I think you would have a lot more success than trying to hold on to these signs that are really outdated, abandoned, and have no value.
You're saying it would be a brand new sign?
Yeah, if he built a new
Not
joint
adding to that,
identification that
but
had like 5 windows
No,
and he could.
but not adding on to that
No,
one.
no. Building something
a
new
brand new-
on a base.
Yeah.
That's a monument-based sign.
Yeah.
That is in better scale for the neighborhood business mixed
It's
district.
in conformance with the
Current code.
height and.
If it's not quite in conformance because he has some hardships based on his lot being, all of his lots being very non-conforming, I was saying that in my experience, it seems like that's something the board would consider and put a lot of weight on in getting him a better sign if we can let go of some of these signs that aren't functional for that district. By the way, every sign in that entire area is abandoned, not just on his property. So we are violating the other properties as well.
Like when it says shop.
That trustees have ordered them to tear that down within 10 days. They've got a few days left. And then we will go on their property and tear it down.
And put a lien against the property. So that's things we're trying to avoid too. You and I have talked, because he has done auto work on my car, so I know him. And we've talked, and you don't want to fight City Hall, first of all. I mean, you're gonna lose. Just try to get in conformance with what the neighborhood is requesting you to do, and bring a sign in that's in compliance with, the code. In this case, you got a sign that's representing nothing. And it's really representing your house, because that's the parcel it's on. So just if you step back, get the emotion out of it, and logically think about it, why would you want to represent your house on that sign?
Well, it's because my brother has his gym in the basement, that's
Right.
why. And when we bought it, therefore, again, it was there. And that's why it came here, because I'm just not understanding. You got 2 year, I don't understand how that 2-year thing works when it says, so if I have a sign on my place and I have a business and I close it down, I have 2 years from when you guys took this in order, right? This is just what I'm hearing. It was October something of 24.
Yeah, I don't know where he got that, but let me explain. So we did change our regulations to disallow pole signs in October 2024. So that's correct. If this was a sign that was totally conforming except being a pole sign, you would be correct. But since it's been abandoned for over 90 days, which is the threshold in the zoning resolution, on anything other than being a pole sign, then we use the 90-day clock. And it's certainly been abandoned more than 90 days. There's no doubt about it. So the 2 years is if it was a conforming pole sign, the 90 days if it was already non-conforming in another way and happens to be a pole sign. The way that it's non-conforming is it has to be at least 10 feet from the property line, and it's not. It's closer than 10 feet to the property line because of the panhandle lot you're on. So it was non-conforming for that reason. It's also taller than 15 feet, which was in the old zoning resolution. Our new resolution is 8 feet. So if we go by our old resolution, which was adopted in 2006, then we use the 90-day clock because it's too tall and it's too close to the property line. What David Miller told you, for some reason, is about being a pole sign. So even if that was your only issue, now I will say for your other sign, 2 signs down that said performance, whatever, your other pole sign under the billboard, that's why we're not hearing that case tonight. Because that is conforming in every way except being a pole sign. So you have 2 years on that sign.
So what does a pole sign mean? I'm thinking
It's
pole
a-
to me is round.
It's a sign that is not sitting on a monument base. It's not sitting on a base that's placed on the ground. It's on 1 or 2 or more poles.
Colerain Township has a lot of pole signs currently.
Well, I'm just saying, if I said I was gonna put up a pole fence or a square, you know what I mean? When you say pole, I'm thinking just round pole. I didn't hear
This is-
the part of the base. and-
Tubular.
A ground sign that's not a monument sign.
So what you're saying is it has to be mounted on a piece of concrete that's sticking out of the ground, but it still can be round.
No, it has to be sitting on a base and the base has to be the same size as the base of the sign you set on top of it, and it has to be made of brick or stone or some visually similar material.
St. Anne's is a perfect example of the sign, what it should be like.
And Cheddar's. Cheddar's is a perfect example too. That type of sign. Anything outside of that is a ground sign that's not a monument sign and is prohibited. And you have 2 years on your performance motorsports pole sign. You don't have 2 years on the other signs because they had already extinguished their non-conforming status by being abandoned.
Okay,
more
so-
than 90 days.
So here, let's take this. If I was to take this sign down, this is my argument on the other property. I'm just gonna tell you. I haven't even owned that place for a year.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
No, hold on.
Okay.
Let me
Sure,
speak.
go ahead.
So you're talking it has to be on a square base. That sign that is in between my driveway and my building is on a concrete base that's sticking out of the ground, the little one. Why it was put there, that used to be King Quick. But you gotta understand, when you come at me, this is what I can't take. I just bought this place. You gotta give somebody some time, because here's the thing. If I go down Colerain Avenue where the old Ford building is that they're tearing the front off, not the one by the highway, one across from Chuck E. Cheese. That place has been empty for over 10 years. It's got a pole sign with a cover over it right now. So, and now somebody just bought it. You get what I'm saying?
No, I don't. They have a approved master signage plan. So they haven't
But I'm just
approved for a
saying,
new
it's-
sign.
I still see it sitting there, and I just bought this place. I haven't even owned it a year. I gotta fix a few things. I got a little roof leak, and there's all kinds of stuff that was left in there, engine parts, because I don't know if you know Joe was murdered, but anyway.
Okay, so it doesn't meet the definition of a monument sign. I think we're spinning our wheels.
Yes. So if we were to call this a valid violation,
Yeah.
and if he's okay with dismantling it, we would still have to call it a violation.
You were saying that my determination that it's abandoned is valid.
Yeah.
And that's when I take it to the trustees and they would order a resolution giving him 10 days to tear it down.
Yeah, so then he tears it down at his expense, and if he doesn't,
We do it at our
township
expense.
does.
Or at his expense, excuse me.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Could you clarify again about, to benefit him where he may be losing these signs, about the monument sign that would display several businesses?
Well, yes, I don't want to speak for the board, and I'll say that up front. But if you came up with an idea for what's called a joint identification monument sign, which is basically a monument sign with a base, and you set a sign on top, and it advertises 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 businesses, what have you, you would need some variances. You probably wouldn't meet the setback requirement. It would probably be considered an off-site sign for some of the businesses. But we do have a path in the Board of Zoning Appeals where you could come ask the board to approve that sign, a new sign to replace it. They're never going to approve it if you keep any of these pole signs. I am certain of that. But if you come up with an idea for one sign that is a monument sign that mostly meets our code and come and request variances so you can build that sign, you can end up with a very nice sign that works well for your businesses for far less cost than combining all your parcels, just to keep these signs for till they fall in a storm, you know. So, does that help?
So
that make-
monument sign means what?
So I'll give you an example of what a multi-monument sign would be, like the Northgate Mall sign. It's a monument sign with multiple representations of,
Oh, like stacked ones, like the one at Walmart. They went into Walmart there on, I think I seen something that had like multiple businesses, but one's
but
empty.
your base is a solid base, then you've got a sign and another sign on top of that and another sign on top of that. That's what he's referencing.
It's just a sign, it'll say Great
I have an
Clips,
example.
it'll say Performance Auto, it'll say,
So like across the street from me where the daycare is, they had multiple signs.
Like this. That's an extremely nice one. I mean, I don't know if we're going that level, but that's an example of what a joint identification monument sign is. There's a base. We do require that the sign go all the way down to the base here, where Centerville doesn't. But this is the idea. You would have a base, and then you would have a few signs on top. It would look more natural because it would be stone or brick. It would be great for your property value, in my opinion. And the board is more likely to grant you variances than they might be other properties because you have hardships.
And when you're talking surveys and replotting lines, you're talking easily $5,000 to $10,000.
So now back to the other property, the two signs.
That's our next case. Can we?
Yeah, we haven't made it
Address
there
that for
yet.
our
So
next
at this point, we need to make a decision on this particular sign, and then we'll talk about the next one. So, have you had enough to speak your piece on this one? We gotta make a decision here. Do we have a motion to use valid, invalid, or table?
I'll make a motion to declare it a valid violation.
Okay. Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second's been made. Discussion? There's some hesitations. Discussion? None? Roll call vote.
Mr. Bartolt,
Yes.
Mr. Shup,
Abstain?
Mr. Sydow,
Yes.
Mr. Thiemann,
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes. So in this particular case, this sign that is representing your house, we're saying that is invalid and that it is not a valid sign.
That it's abandoned, sorry.
What's that?
That it's abandoned, yeah.
It's abandoned. Next one would be yours as well. This is for 2545 Galbraith Road, am I correct?
Yes.
Case number 25-9. Does the staff have a presentation?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, this one's much more straightforward. The property owner admitted to David Miller and myself that the business no longer exists, being Blue Rock Motors Incorporated. The sign face has been turned around since this picture was taken, but if I did say that you built the last one, I apologize. I never thought that. I never meant that. I know it's decades old. I know you didn't build this one either. I'm sure that when you bought the property, you inherited these signs. That is totally beside the point. Whether you bought it yesterday or you've had it for 50 years, whether you built the signs or not, they're abandoned signs. So Blue Rock Motors Incorporated does not appear to exist. So I'm asking the Board of Zoning Appeals to rule that this sign, that my determination that this sign is abandoned is a valid determination. Mr. Roberto?
Thank you. Okay, do you want to talk to this sign?
Yeah, so you said the setback is how many feet from the property line?
10 feet.
Okay, because I think that's further than 10 feet, and it's in the middle of my parking lot.
It's over 15 feet tall, so it's a moot point.
Okay. So what if I take it down and make it a light? It's on my property.
The pole was erected for a sign, so the pole needs to come down because it's not a sign anymore.
Okay, so if I take that pole down and put a light pole there.
If you
I mean,
put
I'm
it,
just asking because they're here again. I bought it. I bought the property and it's there. And the telephone pole's taller than that sign. So if I took the sign off and used it, see, my only complaint was I just bought the place. And if I rent out the two halves, somebody could use this sign on this side. That was my only questioning with keeping this. But I think that's, I mean, if I put a pole, like if I went tomorrow and dug a hole and put a pole in the middle of my parking lot and put a light up, is that grounds to go to get in trouble?
my answer is
How far
that,
back it is all I'm saying.
my answer is that since it was built as a sign, you need to tear down the sign. If you take down the cabinet and the face, and the pole is repurposed, I would need to do some research on what the Ohio Revised Code says about that. But it is part of the sign, so it is part of what the board's ruling on tonight. And for the record, if he did find a business to go in this sign and applied for it, he has extinguished clearly here his non-conforming status because the sign has clearly been abandoned more than 2 years. He made a comment that this business has been gone many, many years. So I would not approve another sign going in, another sign being advertised on that pole, even if another business moved into this one. It was a little more questionable with the last one because we don't know quite how long that gym's been gone. But this sign is dead and it will never be able to be resurrected. So that's why I think it's important that we order it taken down.
Correct me if I'm wrong,
question?
but there again, the monument sign would, any new business that did come in would, would delineate the separate
Well,
business.
this pole here is on a big solid concrete platform that's in the ground. It's not just stuck in the ground. And it's probably, I mean, it's gotta be 30 feet back from the sidewalk, I would think. directly in my thing. I'm just asking this because it's like I can't even, I mean, I just bought the place. I ain't even had it a year, and now I got, people down my back to do this. I got 10 days to do it. I got my father I'm trying to take care of and working in the shop, and I just, this is crazy. I want to take a bulldozer and just run it all over now. This ain't even got nothing, my brother, that was their deal, getting this building next door. Because I got enough things going on, and now here I am, because I can't get anybody to do anything. But it's whatever, I'm just asking this question. This guy here doesn't like me, obviously.
It's not true.
Here's how I would make lemonade out of this lemon. Is, all right, you already got electric at the base of the monument that's there. You remove the pole, you already got electric to the sign that you could then erect on that base, and you already set back appropriate distance. Is that what we heard?
For a light pole,
For a monument sign.
for a monument sign.
He's set back
Well,
enough.
it'll be up to you guys. I would bring you a case. I would be more likely to recommend approval because he has several hardships upon the site because it's laid out so odd, and that pole signs are coming down. So
I mean, that part is, so, I mean, the pole sign is now the violation, but you still could do a monument sign there. On that base that's already there.
See, and when you talk about electric, this is where it's crazy. So, my dad built our shop in '81, but somehow, I know he says, because I'm not sure on the other pole, where it sits, because that thing is connected. So the one pole underneath on this property here, the performance one, it's connected to that other pole. It's got its own electric somehow. I guess you pay for it through the Duke Energy. They added it there, whatever. But the one that's
Are we referencing
the performance one right there.
okay, so the performance one and the other sign that we're questioning, which is the Blue Rock something other, is.
Right, those are all connected to this building, but what I'm saying is back to the other sign that's on my other property that he says is for my house. What I'm trying to gather is the electric is connected into my shop. You know, the power plant one right there? So I'm confused on, I know we gotta just tear everything down, tell me to leave and go tear them down tomorrow, but back to that one, I mean, if I gotta take it down, I gotta take it down. But there's electric going to that pole.
Yep.
And I believe 100% is connected into my building. And obviously, that concrete's been on that ground since I think my dad put that down after he got back from the Gulf War in '90.
Are we still referencing the power plant sign?
No, I'm just saying, because when you just said electric, it just came to my mind about the electric.
Okay.
I'm thinking the electric on that is connected into my shop.
And it's irrelevant. At this point, we've already made a decision on that sign that needs to come down because it's representing the wrong thing. It's representing a
So the
house.
only issue before us is this sign abandoned?
yes, that's all we're trying to know.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
So we're talking about now the Blue Rock Road sign, or whatever that is, Blue Rock Motors.
So it's just, the cover isn't there anymore, but, so since that one's on a base,
It's irrelevant, isn't it?
it's still too tall?
It's a pole.
It's abandoned.
It's a pole that's been abandoned. So if you want to have a sign there to advertise a building for your new tenant or whatever, it now will need to be a monument sign on that concrete base. And you got the electric there. That's going to save you a little bit, but you're still going to have a cabinet made, and the pole's got to go away.
But leave the concrete base there.
You can build around it. I mean, it's already set back appropriately, so why not use it? But in this case, we need to make a vote, and you heard how it's going, as to whether or not this sign has been abandoned, and the board's getting ready to make that decision. So, do we have a motion on this particular matter? Is it valid, invalid, or tabled?
I'll make a motion that the staff's determination relative to this sign is valid.
Okay, motion's been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second's been made. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Bartolt.
Yes.
Mr. Shep.
Yes.
Mr. Sydow.
Yes.
Mr. Thiemann.
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes. unfortunately, you know, I think you could feel we're trying to bat for you, but unfortunately, we're limited because of what it is.
And I don't dislike you, and I will bat for you as well if you come and try to design a sign that mostly fits our code, because we want the best for Pippin and
Galbraith.
and I'm sure you do too. So
We expect good things from you. I know it's going to happen. It just got to move past this and get it done, and it'll be better for you and for everybody else.
All right, so how long do I got? I gotta go to a funeral this weekend.
we
It's gonna be presented to the trustees.
yes, we will make probably not on the next trustee meeting on the 8th. It'll probably be the one following that. So the end of July, we will present it to the trustees.
And then
You'll
they'll
have a
make a
chance
matter,
to-
and then they'll give you a notice. So you've got a little bit of time.
It's 10 days after that meeting.
I gotta go.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, sir. All right, next case would be for an illegally placed sign at 8854 Pippin Road, case or matters ZCE 25-13.
Yes, so ZC 25-13 is regarding a illegally placed banner sign that was placed over a long existing structure that pre-existed any type of zoning in the township. I've had no contact from the property owner. We've sent them certified letters. There was never been a permit for a face change, and it's clearly a vinyl banner. If you look at August of 2023, Big Al's Garage had a sign on the site, and it's a sign that's attached loosely to the other pole. There was never a permit for that sign. For some reason, staff in 1996 went around and took pictures of all the signs in the township, and this is what it looked like in 1996, right after zoning started. So Big Al's never had a permit. Nothing between them ever had a permit. And now they've attached a banner sign to an existing sign frame, which is a separate zoning violation. You can't use temporary signage in a permanent way. You also can't attach one piece of signage to another piece of signage. And although this did pre-exist our new updated zoning resolution, since they never got a permit, it was never legal, and it's not legal now. So this would also, we've never done an illegal signage. It's kind of a new process to us. So we would also take this to the trustees and have them order the property owner to remove that sign and apply for a more appropriate monument sign. So we're asking that you find my determination that this is an illegally placed sign as valid to the best of your knowledge.
Okay, and I see no one has showed up for this case. So no questions to ask, so do we have a motion to make?
I'll make a motion to agree with the staff that the sign is a valid violation.
I'll second.
Second made, discussion? So, are you gonna go back with what they need to do in order to have a valid sign? I mean, you're not just gonna, because there is obviously a business there.
Yeah, when trustees order that they remove it, we'll serve them that order, however that process rolls out. And when they take the sign down, we'll work with them to get a sign that conforms to the zoning code. It shouldn't be difficult on that property because they have appropriate setbacks
And it's, I mean, pretty close to a monument sign now, just gotta make a real monument sign.
right.
Okay.
By the way, this is only that they take the illegal sign down, which is the banner.
Right.
So we're not even requiring them to take the frame down. This will just be for the banner.
Wow, okay. I can't remember, do we make a motion?
Yes.
So now we're at roll call vote? Okay.
Mr. Bartelt,
Yes.
Mr. Shup,
Yes.
Mr. Sadow,
Yes.
Mr. Thiemann,
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes. Next matter is ZCE 2515 for property at 9090 Pippin Road.
Correct. So at 9090 Pippin Road, my pictures are gone. Okay, I've got to pull this up on Google Maps. They had a pole sign on the road that they actually have already taken down, which the township appreciates because it was abandoned. However, we have some illegally placed signs that are still on the property, and these ones they're not taking down. So this is the sign that was taken down. A very good thing for the township to have such an abandoned sign frame.
So the
removed.
pole has actually been removed?
The pole's been removed, yes. And then we have 4 banner signs on the building. And if we're gonna violate some, we have to violate all people. So 2 on this triangle building, and then 2 on the garage. These are temporary signs being used in a permanent manner, which wouldn't allow them to be approved under our current zoning resolution, but they were placed before our zoning resolution was adopted. However, they never got a permit, so the signs have never been illegal.
So for clarification,
Yeah.
what determines temporary versus permanent?
There is a definition, it describes it as flexible. So most things that are not flexible are not considered temporary, as long as they don't meet some other definition. But it would be a permanent sign because it's not flexible. But it would have to meet that definition, our zoning resolution. I don't have it prepared. I can look it up and read it if you'd like.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to get some clarity because in case someone from the audience is watching, they're asking the same question. So for instance, some of these face changes, all they are is plexiglass with lettering on them. Is
Yeah.
that not considered flexible?
Well, these banners were designed to be temporary signs, and then people are placing them on their building as permanent signage.
Right.
So I'll read you a couple things. Just give me one moment.
Next time I'll give you the questions ahead of time.
Well, it's not. Okay, so a banner sign is a sign that is made of printed or printed on flexible material like fabric or vinyl and designed to be quickly installed or easily removed, upon which copy is written and which is mounted to the ground or supported between poles or sticks or fastened to buildings or other structures, or to the wall of a building or structure that is erected on a temporary basis and removed when the time period has expired. So under banner, we have the word temporary. There is also a piece of code that says that you can't use I'm just gonna go to it. It's under prohibited signage types. Okay, so under section D, permanent temporary signs. So that's number 9. Signage which is designed to be used for temporary purposes that's placed upon a lot or parcels and used as permanent signage. This includes banner signage, which is constructed of a strip of cloth, paper, plastic, or other flexible material upon which copy is written and which is mounted to the ground or supported between poles or sticks or fastened to buildings and everything we just read. This also includes post and panel signage. So we have some of those in the township that existed before this rule came about, but in the future, post and panel signage is seen as permanent signage being used as temporary signage, or the other way around.
So they could, I mean, I've seen people where they take those vinyl signs, they wrap it around the rigid PVC and put it in a frame. Is that legal?
At the end of the day, when we enter into a gray area like that, it comes down to zoning administrator determination. And if they don't agree with my termination, then they would ask you guys. So then it would come down to whether or not you think it is a legitimate sign or whether you think it's an attempt at a loophole.
All right, well, we'll go back to this case. So, are you complete with your presentation?
In just a moment. So the phone numbers work. So I do believe these are bona fide businesses, but they're not legally permitted signage now, and they never got a permit, so they never will be. And then I show that on the presentation that the LLC is active. So staff is asking that you find the determination that this is illegally placed signage is either valid or invalid, so we can move forward with enforcement. Mr. Roberto?
Thank you. Any questions for staff? I know I interjected. Anyone want to make a motion? Or, yeah, motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to declare the signs or the violation of the signs being valid. My mic wasn't on. Should I do that again?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
I'll make a motion that the violation of the signs is valid.
Okay. Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second's been made. Any discussion? Yeah, at the very least, I mean, they got invalid signs as well as too many.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's confusing. All right, roll call vote?
Mr. Bartolt,
Yes.
Mr. Shup,
Yes.
Mr. Sydow,
Yes.
Mr. Thiemann,
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes. All right, this would be case 91, or case ZCE 2516 for a property located at 9109 Pippin Road. And I see that's been withdrawn on my sheet here.
Yep, you're getting some good news here.
Okay.
I know that this is difficult and awkward and a new process and messy and sloppy, and you guys hate it, and that I understand. I understand the frustrations from it, but there is good that comes out of it. A lot of people have just went ahead and got rid of their sign violations without having to come here, and I want to give a shout out to Brookside Terrace Mobile Home Park. They had this piece of signage on the screen on Hamilton County property. They erected it without a permit. When we said that they were not allowed to do that, they went out almost that day and tore the sign down. So this violation is corrected and the case is closed.
Now, do they have the opportunity to advertise their, is that, I mean,
They do not, because they don't have any frontage right there along Pippin. So that would be a case where a variance may be appropriate.
okay, thank you. All right. Last one would be ZCE 2517, an abandoned sign at 9406 Pippin Road.
Yes, so our final case comes in a very interesting type of sign frame that is shown on the screen. This is a current picture. There are a few areas, I should say, of Colerain Township that we're really focused on coming up with a plan to make better. And one of those that I'm especially passionate about is Pippin and Adams. I really think that there are a lot of things we could do and that have been done, such as the mural that you can see in the screen. There's another sign across the street from this that was declared abandoned by this board, and the trustees ordered it removed, and we may soon be in the process of abatement. So we are completely serious about the entire township complying with our regulations on signage and everything else, and this would fall into that category. So as you can see on the screen, in 2022, there was a sign on this pole, in case any argument came up that, oh, that's not a sign pole, it's a light pole, that's where I hang my flag. No, this was built for a sign, and there's no sign on it, and there has not been for well over 2 years, approaching 3 at least. So that is why I've determined it an abandoned sign. Mr. Roberto?
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Is there a business at this location?
I'm not sure if there is a bona fide business at the location. And since this is just the pole, and we have outlawed pole signs, they could never put another cabinet up there anyway.
Yeah, they would have to
So-
do a monument sign.
Yeah, I wish I could answer your question, but it's a little bit of a moot point.
I just want to be prepared, though, if there's a bona fide business there, and we're making them remove their sign, that we help them, if they would like to have a sign, that we help them do it the right way.
I think that is a very prudent thing for the entire board and myself to do, to be as pro-business as we are and show the community that we are. We're not out there attacking business for the sake of attacking business. We're out there trying to clean up and give businesses a little push. But I would appreciate the board being flexible if those businesses who do have a little push want to come back and try to get something that does work for their business, but mostly fits our code.
Well, I call it the broken window effect from a commercial aspect, and that's one of the things that it will help their business when it doesn't look
Absolutely.
like it's a rundown area, and these signs contribute to that. So it's valid, but at the same time, I want to make sure that the businesses are afforded the opportunity to be able to advertise their space. So, no other questions for staff? Do we have someone to make a motion? Don't jump at once.
I'll make a motion to agree with the staff's determination that this is valid.
Okay. Got a motion made. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second's been made. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Bartolt,
Yes.
Mr. Shup,
Yes.
Mr. Sydow,
Yes.
Mr. Thiemann,
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes. We have one last administrative matters this evening. Miss Dion Owens is having a birthday today, I believe, isn't it? Oh. No? Monday? Okay, so her
Close
birthday is Monday. And so the staff has gone to the extent this week, and they've got you something that you requested last week,
Last month.
or last month. So if you want to come up here, and the staff is going to go and give you, go over here and give it to her in front of everybody.
And
In front of everybody. The audience is going to see this. Happy birthday.
There's two things. One is a card for your happy birthday.
And what did you request
And then
last month?
Last month you requested something. Do you remember what it was?
No,
Gold
what's your
watch.
favorite dessert? Brownies?
Yeah.
What kind of brownies?
Plain?
That are
Fudgy?
and what kind of piece?
Centerpiece?
Yeah, you wanted the middles.
So you get some brownies tonight, and so does everybody else here.
Yes,
So-
I could. We can share.
should we
Happy
sing
birthday.
happy birthday on birthday?
No,
You can lead the birthday if you sing.
No.
especially since
Warm up
I,
that voice.
I need to apologize to the board's residents and staff. Helping mom and was on the 6:30 time frame and thought, but I didn't get a ticket. I thought, if I get a ticket going to the meeting, what do I say? Thank you.
We appreciate. Sorry you didn't get to
birthday.
sit on the board tonight, but we appreciate you making it and sticking it out.
Aw,
And,
thank you.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank
I
you.
whenever I sang or Dave Peters, and they go, "You're good."
That's on record now.
Okay. Thank you. She just lives in Pleasant Round Farms. I'm like, it's not 6:30, it's 6 o'clock. And I was
It
like,
used to be though, so that's why
I
she's used to
know.
it.
Oh, thank you.
With that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I second.
And a second's been made. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Bartolt,
Yes.
Mr. Sydow,
Yes.
Mr. Thiemann, or Mr. Sydow, sorry, Mr. Shup.
Yes.
I'm doing this way out of order now. You got me excited for brownies. Let me restart this.
Okay.
Mr. Bartolt,
Yes.
Mr. Shup, Mr. Sydow, Mr. Thiemann,
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes.
Okay.
Meeting dismissed.